again. Welcome back to the 22nd floor for some more Football Spy Online. We're going to start with my team, Liverpool, today, and they've left me in two minds. On the one hand, I can't see us winning the title, especially with Alonso now gone to Real Madrid, unless we sign another striker and stop relying so heavily on Torres and Gerrard. On the other hand, I'm very, very excited by the news that Rafa Benitez is finally going to move in for some of the irons that he's got in the fire. We understand here at Spy that in the last few hours, the sporting director at Real Madrid, Jorge Valdano, has said that after splashing out £250 million this summer, they're closing the books. There's going to be no more signings, which means no Frank Ribery with Chelsea or Man United getting a clear run at him, and no David Silva either, with Liverpool set to move in again for the Valencia winger who can play anywhere across the middle and in the spaces, as we were telling you the other day, between the midfield and the attack. Liverpool went in for him earlier in the summer, but the price they were quoted was way too high. But Rafa and Liverpool's chief scout, Eduardo Macia, both like Silva a hell of a lot, and they're likely to go back in for a compromise deal if Valencia can lower their asking price. Now, on our Spy email, Seamus in Abbeyfield has sent us this. He says here, Darren, I'm devastated that Jabby's left the pool. Can you give me hope for the new season by saying that Aquilani can fill Alonso's boots? Well, yes, I can, because he is indeed the other player on his way to Anfield from Rome. Alberto Aquilani is 25. He's long been Liverpool's first choice replacement for Alonso. Roma have to sell because they've got no money, and this is a bit of a coup for Liverpool as he's homegrown and a real fan's favourite along with Totti and De Rossi. Aquilani is going to cost £17 million, and his arrival may well end suggestions that Rafa is going to sign the Danish holding midfielder Christian Poulsen, who's at Juventus but been offered to a lot of Premier League clubs. Now, before we move on to more transfer news, bad news for you Man United fans with the news that Edwin van der Sar, your keeper, is injured with a broken hand. He's going to miss 8 games, including obviously Sunday's Community Shield and the matches against Arsenal at home and Spurs away, along with 2 Champions League games. The other matches are against mid-table sides and teams in the bottom half of the league, but still a problem for United with Ben Foster also injured and possibly out until the end of August. Now, while I've been away, the young Leeds midfielder Fabian Delph's gone to Aston Villa. I look forward to him scoring maybe 10 or 12 goals next season, which is maybe what you should be entitled to when you pay £8 million, shouldn't it? Way too much money for me. Far more sensible is Arsene Wenger at Arsenal, who's laughed at Bordeaux's ludicrous demand for a staggering £15 million for the striker Marouane Chamakh. Quite right too. The player's in the last year of his contract. He doesn't want to sign a nil one. He wants to go to Arsenal, and Wenger basically knows it. So he's offered £6 million to Bordeaux and said basically either you take it or you lose him for nothing next year. Expect the Bordeaux president to come back with his tail between his legs to do the deal anytime soon. Another deal I expect to be done soon is one for the bad boy Newcastle defender Sebastian Bassong. He's following the how to get out of a relegated club manual step by step. He's already said that he's got no intention of playing in the Championship and been alienated by most of his teammates. Now, with Spurs in for him, he's been fined 2 weeks' wages for refusing to play in a pre-season friendly. This is our own Daily Mirror. Newcastle are holding out for £12 million for a player they bought for only $500,000 last summer. Spurs have had a £10 million bid rejected, but they'll be back. I don't think they'll be spending £10 million on the Blackburn defender Christopher Samba, though, because I don't think he's a £10 million player, basically. He's a good player, though. He's only 25. He's done really well since arriving from Hertha Berlin for just £400,000 2 years ago. Time for some more of your messages, and I know that lots of you want to pledge your undying love for our chief sports writer Martin Lipton, X-Wing Class, Team JGP and Awaza, but I'm afraid you're stuck with me today. Anyway, lots of you with views on whether the outstanding young Arsenal midfielder Jack Wilshere should go to the World Cup or whether he should continue developing away from the limelight. I asked you about that on Monday. Absolute Divine says here, although it would undoubtedly give him experience, it could also give him unwanted pressure that could divert his focus. DR601TB says Capello should go in for a more experienced player. Matthew Di Natale agrees on our email, along with We Won It 5 Times, who says, we all saw what a catastrophe Walcott was at the World Cup. Wilshere would just be a waste of space for a more experienced player. But Multipolo disagrees. He says here, Walcott wasn't a disaster. He just didn't have a chance to prove himself. Spartan Bruce thinks Capello should take Wilshere to the World Cup. as, to use his words, he was immense in the Emirates Cup against Rangers. David Abika agrees. He says he's a young lad, but he's blessed with incredible talent and appears to have a good head on his shoulders. And Mohammed says Wilshere has more experience, so Walcott did at his age, and there is a full season ahead before any decision needs to be made. Let's see how he comes along. But I'm going to give the last word to Old Root, who pinpoints the big burning problem with this whole situation. He says here, if I were Capello, I would give Wilshere time to see if Wenger plays him. You can't judge things on 2 days at the weekend. Who knows? Maybe he's got girlfriends in the week. This split back page of the Star is very clever. The top bit you already know about, Alonso going to Madrid. But the bottom bit's the one that's going to have Arsenal fans talking today. AC Milan putting Cesc Fabregas at the top of their shopping list. Personally, I don't think Fabregas will go. I think he'll stay at Arsenal for just one more season. And if they win things, then it might be even longer. One pair who is leaving the Emirates, so is Philippe Senderos. Everton are in talks with Arsenal for his signature, which is likely to smooth the passage of Joleon Lescott to Man City for around £22 million. That should mean City end their interest in Bassong at Newcastle, which means Harry Redknapp at Spurs would have a clear run at him. Yes, the transfer merry-go-round really is in full swing. Now, before we move on, take a look at this.
Oh! Crossbar challenge!
It's Zayn Mahmood who sent in some video of himself doing a crossbar challenge in his garden. Very good, but I wonder how many times he had to do that before he got it right. He wants the Phil Brown megaphone, so do lots of you. Can't have it, but I am going to dig something out for him because he's the first person to send us a video message this summer. If you want to send one to us, nothing fancy, you might just want to give your views on your club, upload it to YouTube and let me know that you've done it, or email me like Zayn Mahmood has done. And obviously, if there's anything that you send us that we particularly like, we'll dig something out and send it to you. Now, also, you know we like to share our debates with you. Well, in the office, we've been trying to decide whether David Villa is being loyal or ambitious by not wanting to leave Valencia for the Premier League, or either Real Madrid or Barcelona. I think there might be a danger of that myself. Maybe he could be another Matt Letizia. I know David Villa's won things with Spain, obviously, but he could win even more with a bigger club. Let me know what you think. Back to the transfers, and Everton are close to bringing in the 21-year-old American striker Cody Arnu from Dynamo Carolina. He hit 13 goals from 16 games in the fourth tier of American soccer. If you're one of our viewers in the States and you've seen him, let me know what you think of him. The South African midfielder Kagiso Dikagol has finalised a move, he says, to Fulham from the Golden Arrows after impressing in a trial. Everton target Stephen Defoe's agent says he wouldn't turn down the chance to move to Liverpool if they came in for him. Portsmouth are set to make Lyon striker Frederick Piquion their next signing on a year-long loaner. For all of you Newcastle fans worried that owner Mike Ashley is wrecking your club, well, more bad news. The Times say that he's ready to stay for yet another potential nightmare season if he doesn't get a buyer by Friday. No Phil Brown's megaphone today, although the Hull chairman Paul Duffin has confirmed that the club have missed out on yet another striker, Fulham's Bobby Zamora. No laughing matter that. But Cardiff's Ross McCormack has indicated that he would definitely be interested in a move to the KC, so maybe there might be a bit of good news there. The competition for the Frank Ribery boots continues. Guess how much he moves for, and if you get it right, and obviously if we pick you, then you win the boots. But a couple more stories to bring you before we go. The first relates to this. A couple of days ago, a Portsmouth fan took issue with Dan, who was saying that he thinks they're in for a tough season. I backed Dan, and this should convince you as to why. Two of Portsmouth players, striker David Nugent and defender Mark Wilson, were sent home from their tour of Portugal for fighting at the weekend. Now we hear that Stoke are in for Nugent. Presumably they want him to show some of that bottle up front for them. Now there's news coming out of Spain today that no less than Barcelona are having a look at the young Manchester United defender Johnny Evans after having a move for Nemanja Vidic dismissed. Big news, that one. We'll keep you posted on that. And just time to tell you also that Football Spy will be taking up a permanent residence on the new Mirror Football website, which launches tomorrow. You can obviously find us still on YouTube, on our blog, and on the many sites that host us. But visit mirrorfootball.co.uk for Spy and a few other video surprises that we've been working on. More Spy for you tomorrow. I'm back in the chair for that. I'll see you then.